alright, 'cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey. All right, y'all. I'm having a wonderful day. I hope y'all having a wonderful day too. You know,
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the
I'm
show.
SRD, and you
Big
are.
Mus.
All right. Welcome to Peep Game TV presents Live at 5. You know, where we do things and we speak about stuff to hopefully stimulate your mind.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Ramadan Mubarak, my brother.
Ramadan Mubarak, brother.
All right. Yeah, we were speaking about something, that I found pretty intriguing earlier. Want to kind of, elaborate on that, man. Your stance on, this position, of young people, you know, getting married at, you know, 17, 18, getting married prior to basically, I guess, the I want to say the way that traditionally or, you know, biblically, Islamically, um, that individuals were getting married prior to having sex. However, my take on it is if you mess around, my take is to tell an individual, look, you mess around, you want to go ahead and have sex, and if you slip up and get the person pregnant, then you know that marriage is coming with it. That's my take because I know, growing up, that was something that was traditional. You get somebody pregnant, it was an automatic, you get married. You know what I mean? Wasn't no if, buts, or maybes. You get them pregnant, you get married. So what's your thoughts about that?
My personal thoughts about that is uh we have a lot of education to do when it comes to being in a situation like that, surrounding the situation and the time that we living in. Traditionally things are passed down. And a lot of tradition is good, like you spoke on earlier. Yeah, tradition is good, and it's good you could pass down traditions. But we don't adjust the tradition to the time that we live in it. We are blinded to the fact that not we're not totally blinded, but sometimes we block out the awareness that we really have, and we just deal with the situation thinking the outcome going to be traditionally, and the outcome is not going to be traditionally. It's going to be nowadays how that outcome is going to be. When it comes to marriage at that age, bro, in this day and time, um, you got to be aware of the establishment of a 17-year-old in 2024. Where do you think our youth is at in
Mentally?
2024? Listen what we're dealing with, Aki. In 2024, where the youth is at. Where is the establishment of when we were young and traditionally, we didn't have to go through a credit or a system or a policy for a resident or residing in a place or having to go through these channels in order to be able to get an apartment or to provide. So now in 2024, at that age and coming up, sexuality and the exploitation of sexuality is it's
Yeah,
abroad, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now we have to educate them different than we did traditionally because now traditionally we still going, no, you got to have this baby, you're going to get married, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Look at the pressure you're putting on, and I'm not excluding the responsibility or not being responsible for their actions, but look at what we're doing to them traditionally by tradition in a time that tradition don't apply. So the tradition, to me, in my opinion, it has to be adjusted. You can't take a 17-year-old and take them back in the day, like when I was 17 and I had my first kid, and you got to do this and you got to do that. Nah, Aki. Because nowadays, what I had and the opportunity that I had and the neighborhood that I grew up in, the family structure that I grew up in, it was totally different than nowadays.
Oh,
Half of us can't even we're not even in touch with our relatives to help to structureize and for them to be balanced in such a way. Actually, and nowadays we actually pushing the kid out there to nothing and telling them to be responsible with no tools, with no experience, and for them, and we're expecting them to succeed in 2024. So in 2024, I say, nah, that's not, nah. I'm not with that. A 17-year-old getting married.
okay. So, all right. So, I mean, and my thing is more or less based on, you know, having sex. Sex is a big responsibility. And I think it's being taken too lightly, especially, for, you know, not just younger people, older people as well. It's taken too lightly to have sex and not realize what comes with it, let alone the baby, the diseases. Now you even got the emotional attachment. You know what I'm saying? That comes with it. And okay, one person may be attached more emotionally than the other. So it creates a lot of, I want to say, turmoil within the community because, as you said, individuals are having sex without having the proper tools to be prepared for having sex. A 17-year-old, as you said, what type of state of mind is a 17-year-old is when he's having sex or she's having sex? Okay, more than likely they're staying with their parents. Now, a baby comes into play, and now, as you were saying, okay, you don't have the village to raise the child. Now, okay, the child is born. Now, who becomes responsible? You don't have a village. You're not advocating. You're saying, okay, you're not married, so the guy can keep it moving. The woman stuck with the child. Normally, in normal situations, the baby's in the woman's womb, so the baby normally stays where the woman stays. So, only reason that I even would consider the marriage part is because it increases a responsibility in the mind of the young man where when he's having sex, he's not so callous about, oh, I'm gonna knock her up. I ain't got to worry about it. Because if in the back of his mind, he's thinking about, oh, if I knock her up, I got to get married. Now, he may be more susceptible to wear protection because marriage, a baby is one thing, but marriage is something else.
Marriage
You
is
know what I'm
something
saying?
else, exactly.
So right now, the way we're looking at our society now, a baby's not a big deal. Little, young goon, young bull, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They'll knock a baby out and say it's not theirs, and then go through the process of the child support, and then some of them, may say, "Look, man, I've heard young ladies say the guys talk about they'll quit their job because they don't want to pay child support." So
Well, that's the see
go ahead.
when we talk about young marriage and young having kids in 2024, right?
Right.
We're going like you just said. You know what comes with it, the baby and the responsibility. we have to remember, we have to educate them about this longevity, like
The
this
long term,
this
absolutely.
bid. I'm only speaking the language I know, like this bid they about to do. Okay, it's like, not in the term of negative like that, but the long state of consistency that you have to apply to this.
Right.
This ain't as quick as you could get off, and as often you fulfilling that desire. This is much longer than that. This is much longer than that. At a young age, from my own experience when it comes to marriage, um, when you're unexperienced, when you're um, not career established, when you're just young and you want to fulfill more desires, that feels like reality right then. Like feels like you could take on everything on the world, but you haven't yet. You haven't experienced the consistencies of having to pay those bills all the time. You haven't experienced the consistency of trying to find food and clothes and shelter. You haven't experienced that. You haven't experienced the real rejection of society rejecting you regardless of what situation you in. We not letting them acknowledge that reality. Like you will be rejected. You will have no money at times. If you're not coming from, and even if you are coming from a background of wealth, they ain't gonna want you to just live off the money and just sit down and do nothing, because then you're worthless.
Yeah.
So we have to educate them now, and this is why I'm against that at such a young age. Now, sex is going to be played, bro, because people going to have sex when they have sex. Now, yes, we have to educate them. We have to educate them to the point that responsibility of protection, of they protecting themselves. And I'm not going, yo, go out and have sex if you ain't married, it's okay. I'm not saying that. But you have to deal with what you're dealing with in this lifetime, and the surroundings and the trending that we have going on and the influences that we have going on. We can't be blind to that just by a tradition that we grew up with. We have to adjust it and apply it to what's going on with our youth today, and how to let them acknowledge the reality of them being by themselves, trying to raise that child, and the outcome of them having so much pressure on them, the likelihood is that they will separate. That's the reality. You know what I'm saying? So we have to tell them these things. They need to go into the relationship with these tools, knowing that what I'm against, so they can plan and structure their life better. Because if you acknowledge this, brother, if you say a kid getting married at 17, and we know marriage is a long jeopardy, right? For with its ups and downs, marriage is a
Absolutely.
bond. It's tight, no matter what, right?
Right.
If you feel that this person and you're gonna commit life to them, then you can get yourself established. You can get yourself ready, because she's not going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. You don't have to just jump in right now and execute that, and then find out that this ain't working for me. This ain't happening.
Good point. Now, perfect point. The same way that you're looking at marriage from that marriage view, that you don't want to jump into it, you're not ready for it mentally or financially or emotionally. It's the same aspect. Both parties, the young men and the young women, need to look at that baby being born. You know what I
Right.
mean? That baby being born, because that's a lifelong commitment.
That's
So that
that's what I'm
so
saying.
right. So that's what takes me to the state of, okay, at the end of the day, you willing to have a baby by somebody that you're not willing to marry? So how is that? How is that good? So in these conversations, it's a benefit to our community for us to have these conversations, because, as you said, based on the way our community is now, there's babies, baby mamas, baby daddies, and babies are suffering in a lot of cases. So there's no problem that doesn't have an answer to it. So we just have to figure out, okay, how we're going to solve this problem. And we have, we have to try different things. And for me, as I said, the marriage thing to me is more of incentive slash deterrent. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, as I said before, if you want to have a baby by somebody, then why wouldn't you be willing to marry them? And if you don't want to marry them, then why do you even want to have a baby by him in the first place? So one goes with the other, and we as the elders in the community have to say, look, you want to have a baby by her,
Right.
or you want to have a baby by him. Are you willing to marry him? Oh no, I just want to. No, we're not. The, what's what sense does that make? At the end of the day, let's go down the road. As you said, you have the baby. Now it's no guarantee that he's going to be there to take care of the baby. You and the baby going to need to be take the baby gonna need food. The baby gonna need pampers. The baby gonna need to go to the doctor. So how is that gonna happen? Who's gonna make that happen? Who's gonna be responsible for that? Your parents are still taking care of you, especially at 17. More than likely, your parents still taking care of you. So now you're bringing a baby into the mix with a young man who has no work experience, you know, don't even really know what he wants to do with his life, but yet you're bringing a baby into to the mix of that. Now, all that's going to be is hardship and confusion that could be avoided if you take the stance of one, I'm protecting myself if I have sex. You know what I mean? Because I'm realistic. I'm not going to say, you know, young people are not going to have sex, but they need to know that it's not going to be what it used to be, where they're able to walk away scot free and say, "Well, I ain't got it, it." She, I didn't want the baby. She decided to have the baby, but you decided to have sex with her unprotected. So you bear responsibility too. And with that being said, you know, what do you think?
I
What are your
think
thoughts on it?
from experience, I got caught out there when I was young because there was no talks like this because of the tradition until it happened, and then everybody want to talk. But the devastation of it, being in high school and going through that and knowing that it's going to be okay. You know how many years it took to be okay, bro? I don't, I don't have, bro. If it wasn't for, and I'm not condoning it, bro. I'm not saying it's the best thing, and that was our time. You know
Right,
what I'm
right.
saying,
And
bro?
right,
If it wasn't for the drug game, I don't know where my kids or me would be. To be honest, bro, because even at those times, man, the employment was much, and you know it. It wasn't equal opportunity then, bro. They was really dealing with us on another level.
absolutely,
You know what I'm saying? From
absolutely.
description. So we
Right,
didn't
right,
have
right.
opportunities like the other generation came up and had. It was rougher for us. It was more like tie us up, hold us back. Don't let you get some, but let some get some, but not let them all get some. Where we was from and how we had to mingle and move around and maneuver. If it wasn't a word of mouth giving us some place to have a type of employment or just by skills, you know what I'm saying? From the blessings, alhamdulillah, bro, come on,
Absolutely.
bro. You feel me? So now let's take 2024. Okay, ain't no hustle game like that hustle game. Drug
No.
game belong to the pharmaceuticals, baby.
Yeah.
All right. So the opportunities that we used to have that we don't have. If we do have an establishment and own a business, how many of us can we employ? Because we don't cater to our own business. You understand? How
Absolutely.
long do they get frustrated because of the massive of trending? Look, a lot of stuff stayed away from us, bro, because we ain't had an internet. So we only desired things that we seen when we was en route. So if we seen something fresh, we wanted to get it. We knew the reality though was like, you got to get to this level in order to get that. And you know me, I was like, man, I had it Pampers, bro.
Yeah.
And I had to walk and take them. You understand? So in,
Dig it.
in,
I
in,
dig it.
20, in 2024, you got to look where the kids' mindset is. And yes, they definitely trending them on to have sex, to identify your own sexuality. You know what I'm saying? The time is totally different, but ain't nobody really educating them on the longevity of raising a child, bro, and
That's
what
true.
that do to the child. Trying and then you be like, I ain't to blame because I I'm caught up, ain't nothing I could do. And a lot of us, yeah, we be like, I don't want to deal with this. It's on her. It ain't on me. It's on her. And
Right.
that's reality. But nobody educated us to what was gonna happen, how long it was gonna take, and who's involved now, and the importance of that. Now our family structure is different. Our relatives live far, our neighborhoods are different. You could walk down the neighborhood, bro. You may see two people that you used to know that still live on the block. Everybody else is strange. And it's a good mixture, but everybody's into their own lifestyle. So they're not raising you, bro. They're not looking out for the kids. So it's totally different now. So even though you say marriage can be like, they'll think, you know what I'm saying, about the marriage situation, but me, and listen, in the Deen of Islam, you know what I'm saying? It tells you, it teaches you so much to do when you have such desires, right? In 2024, we're dealing with that issue on a big, larger plane because of the influence of social media. And I'm talking about all over the world, man, not just in one community.
No, no,
You
absolutely.
understand? So
Absolutely.
a lot of people and a lot of cultural people still have that type of support. The people, the girl
So
can live in the house, the
different
this can
cultures,
live in the
right?
house,
Different
and
cultures,
we're gonna
right?
look after. They have that structure. But when we look at 2024, we may have that structure, but it's not as it used to be. So now you have more single young women. You have more abortions. You have more brothers like, I ain't, man, I'm trying to do this. I ain't trying to work here. I ain't trying to do that. We'll take anything, but they wouldn't even give it to us where we had to turn it at. But we would have worked, but we
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
had
of
that.
course.
We,
Of course. Of
we didn't
course.
have that.
Of
You
course.
understand?
Yeah, of course, that we were in a time where they started actually moving the factories out,
Exactly.
and as you said, you know, during that time, you more than likely had to know somebody that was already working there that would vouch for you. That's how I got my job. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If it
Right.
wasn't for that, you know what I mean? Who knows the outcome of how deep involved I would have gotten if I didn't have that as a life raft. You know what I mean? Had Nabisco as a life raft, even though I knew that I already had my limitations of how far I would go. But I don't want to get off the subject of, okay, where we were talking about, we basically like now part of that structure being there for the young people was because of that people being forced to get married, people being forced to stay together. Part of that structure was there because it was already embedded in your mind that if I got her pregnant, I
Exactly.
got to be with her.
Right.
I can't
You
have
can't.
the baby and
Right.
run away.
You can't
So
deny.
so 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 that was part of why we had that community the way we did because it was automatic. Now it's gotten to the point where I can have a baby, and well, let's say my case when I was 17. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I knew within me, that okay, went through the morning sickness and stuff. Didn't really at the time. Later on, it dawned on me. You know what I mean? That's what I was going through. But during the time when I approached the young lady, she said it wasn't mine. You know what I
Right.
mean? So what am I? I'm not gonna, you know,
Of course you're
what,
not, because
right,
you don't want to be
right.
in
I'm
that
seven.
situation.
I'm 17 years old. You say
Right.
no, I'm gone. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I get it. And at the end of the day, this conversation, as you said, is well needed because we have to let the young people know, look, no more are we accepting your behavior of having babies and you're not being responsible. If you want to have a baby, then you get it's got to be in your mind to consider the marriage thing. That's just my point of view on it, because at the end of the day, one without the other at the end of the day is okay. If I'm willing to have a baby by you and I'm not even willing to consider marrying you, then I'm not really committed to whether I'm gonna take care of the baby anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it from that view, because if I'm committed to taking care of the baby and being with you, then in some part of my mind I got to be saying I'm willing to marry you. And you
Well,
know,
bro, you can have the child, bro, and you can step up to the plate and be like, all right, this is the situation. You keeping it. All right, this is the situation. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times that goes sour because a lot of times women say, hey, if you ain't with me, I don't need you. Don't worry about it. Blase, blase. And this is how we get to that point
in
because
the
of
other way,
desire. And
in the
and we
other
all
way
been
too.
there, and we all
Right,
had experiences, and we all undone it. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Ain't nobody perfect, and ain't nobody saying they better than anybody else. Because I know from my own experiences, been there, stepped in the shit, and tried to wipe it off my feet. So we been there. So this is why we want to let them know, man, the responsibility of things. Because you look at it, it's easy to say, yeah, let's marry them off. Let's do like this, bro. Look at the living costs that's around us. Okay, you can't put price on life. You can't do this. You can't do. But that's what you mean. That's reality, bro.
Right.
How am I gonna shelter this child? Okay, and 9 out of 10 times, bro. To be honest, man, parents always tell you to do the right. Oh, do this. You're gonna do this. You got them pregnant. You gonna you're gonna do this. Then after a couple months out, go. That's your responsibility. You did it. You laid up with it. You gotta deal with it. I ain't gotta deal. I got my own life.
I
What
mean,
the hell, man?
I
Like
mean, I
that's
mean,
that's
but
crazy, bro.
oh, right, but you got to think about it. This is what I was saying earlier in the conversation, that when you're having sex, all of these thoughts have to roll around in your mind before you decide to. When you hot and sweaty, you getting into the mix. You got to think about, okay, it's going to benefit you to think about, okay, if I have a baby by this young lady, then is my parents going to be responsible? You know what I mean? And some young people
They
are,
will.
are are banking on that.
Of
My
course.
parents going to be able to take care of it, so they don't care. I'm gonna knock up. My parents will do it, which is unfair to the parents in some extent, because look, you still raising them. You made sacrifices for them. Now you have to make other sacrifices for decisions that they decided to make, especially when, as you said, when you give them the tools, when you give them the tools and the information of, look, babies are not cheap. As you made the point, yeah, before you used to go, if you knew somebody, you go to an apartment, you give them a down payment or
Boom.
whatever, and you're in the apartment. Now, yeah, they take you through a lot of paperwork. You got to have 3 times the rent, and 3 times the amount of the rent of what you want to rent. So all of this is good information for young people to take heed to prior to even having sex. You know what I mean? Prior to having sex, because at the end of the day, the mindset needs to be more educated around what could happen of after having sex. Not just the pleasure principle, because the pleasure part is okay, I enjoyed that, but and we're eliminating diseases and all that. We're not even going into that aspect of it. We're just staying on bringing a life into the world where if you're not mentally and financially equipped, or heck, emotionally equipped, how are you gonna take care of that life, and what's gonna be the result of that life by being neglected because you and the woman wasn't prepared for that life. So it's basically like I'm not insensitive to say that, or unrealistic to say, look, you got to get married, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm not insensitive to that. But I am pro, you make the baby, you take care of it. And prior to making that baby, you need to understand that it's not walking away is not an option. Not taking care of your baby is not an option, because that option causes the mother, because we're not looking at, we're looking at like, okay, when the mother has laid down with the young man and it was a mutual agreement, now baby's born, now the dude gets the option to walk away and say, look, you got pregnant, that's on you now, and do the same thing to the next girl around the corner. Now you got 4 or 5 babies that you're not taking care of any of them. Then now we have a problem, because you're not taking responsibility, but now there's children born that the young lady has to struggle with her family. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this because I have a granddaughter that has children, and
Right.
the men are not involved. You know what I mean? So I'm saying this based on the experience that, you know, having children and men finding the excuse of not to be involved. Now you said, to some extent, where the woman say, look, if you can't be with me, you can't see the baby. But the men get that same attitude. If you don't want to be with me, I'm not taking care of the baby.
Yeah, they
You know
get
what
the
I mean?
same attitude,
Yeah,
and like nowadays different.
right.
Women feel like they don't need. It's an imaginary situation we deal with when it comes to women in this country with men, and they make the women feel like they don't need the man. And this was designed generation wise. So the more they come up, the more they really get in their head like they don't need a man. I only need a man for this, or I don't need a man at all, or blah blah blah. So some of them be like, nah, I'm gonna keep my baby, but you go do you. I'm gonna do me. You know what I'm saying?
Huh.
And we don't, cause we a lot, bro. We still growing. Knowledge is still out here, bro. So we may we may have experienced things, but we wasn't told in such a way to prevent it with such an impact, how it will affect not to just the two individuals, but the child also in a society
Absolutely.
that says you should do this, but we don't invite you. We don't welcome you like you should have did it. We don't welcome you like you should have did it. Do this. You gotta have this baby. You gotta be married. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Okay, I got support, but then it fades. Now the child. Now imagine, bro, a brother that's a young brother that want to stand up and do right. Because I wanted to do right when I had my
Yeah,
child.
so did
You
I.
feel me? And
So
I
did I.
had to resort to mad stuff, bruh. You
Right,
feel me?
right,
And
right,
I mean, it was a life experiences, but I had to do things, bruh. You feel me?
right. To
Because
make sure that child, make sure the
because I
child
had
make
to
it. Right,
bring
right,
that type of strength. You feel me? I had to bring that type of situation. I had to bring that type of strength. So I had to be a certain type of man. You understand? So it was by any means necessary.
Right.
It was by any means necessary. Now think of that's us. Now
Okay.
nowadays, think of the same brother with that same type of characteristic. I got to do whatever I have to do, but he don't have channels like we had. He don't have patience like we had. He don't have a lot of things that we are embedded with. They don't have that. So now look at his frustration. Look at the mother's frustration. Where are we gonna live at? We can't keep. Okay, you move in with your parents. How many times you moved with your in-laws or your parents, and your wife goes, "We can't be. I want my own. We can't keep doing this. What are you gonna do about it?" Look at the pressure now. The
Yeah.
pressure, not the pressure before, the pressure in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Exactly.
influence in 2024. Well, leave that nigga. You don't need that nigga. You can take care of your baby. My cousin doing it. My this is doing it. My dad is doing it. So we push them and we tell them to do these things. And you might get some comments like what the Muslim brother saying. Like, bro, like I'm saying reality. You can't marry somebody off just because. You can't put people in a situation that may have what? Now we go to the back to the mental state, okay? The mental state that the mind is in. And
Now,
this is the experiences the trauma, bro.
yeah,
You
but I
you
hear you.
understand?
But now
We
on this point, I hate to interrupt you. On this point, did you really put them in a situation, or did they put themselves in a situation, especially when you have given the information? I hear what you're saying.
if you have given them the information based on the reality that they're in. Not based on traditionally our family, we don't do like this and you're gonna do like that. They don't understand that language. Like, bro, you want a Mozzie? You ain't gonna get no Mozzie like that, bro. You want to bling? That's out, bro. You can't. The society you want to live in and the things you want to go for and do, bro. You can't. It ain't matching. Cause how you think you're gonna even get that hard? How is it so hard for you singly to capture your dream or to go after what you want, and you're dealing with that every day? Now you got two more people. You got two more bodies.
There you go. And that's the key, because at the end of the day, it's not. I I think it's not being looked at from that view, based on what I see around me. You know what I mean? Based on a lot of conditions and individuals that I know personally. Like I said, my granddaughter, heck, my daughter, you know what I mean? My niece, my nieces, some of them, you know what I mean? Individuals, and don't get me wrong, some of them got some good dudes that's riding. So all dudes ain't taking the back door. You know what I mean? They try to,
We
be
we we
overwhelmed.
we
I
we,
can't
we
do it.
not
So
we
so 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 we're talking to the ones who have the tendency and are being the ones that are being deadbeats. This is really directly to those, as well as those who haven't even taken the shot yet, to say, look, you have an opportunity to provide a wonderful life for whoever you choose to have a baby with, by being patient and building yourself up to be mentally, emotionally, and financially prepared for the responsibility of you and two or three more people. That's what the goal is, you know, from what I see, what me and you are trying to do here. We're trying to, okay, look, this is what can happen. This is how you can prevent that from happening. Now, if you go ahead and make that happen, you have to live with the consequences of
right.
how it plays out.
I feel they have to know that reality, Aki. I mean, like for real, bro. Like I'm not sugarcoating nothing, man. It's like Yeah, we against a lot of things, bro. We don't want to do a lot of things, but the world is in a different place, man, and it trends very quickly. And we have to get this information out, bro, because the support that people feel they have, or and the patience in people having that type of support, because the structure of how society is, it brings so much pressure on the grandparents, the parents. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Even if you own your own home, man, they keep raising the damn taxes, man. It's like, yo, everything is just like, okay, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do like that. And it ain't even about financially how the money is. It's really about the mental and state of mind the child is at that age. You
Absolutely.
understand? Because a lot of us can provide, and it's a lot of wealthy people in this country. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of wealth in this country, bro. You feel me? So some of us do have that attachment to family members, or we have that support of family structure that could be like, yo, I got you, or I got you. And some have means to get, because we had means, so maybe they create a means in their society in these times. I don't know. I'm not young. You feel me? But the reality is that look at the mental state. Are they aware of the bid they got to do, the longevity they have to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
and that's a lifetime.
yeah. The
And
long,
now, and
right,
and the separation of y'all affects the child, because I know that from experience.
right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't with your son. You feel me? You're not with your daughter. So that all that
We both
affects
know
you,
that,
bro.
right? Yeah,
So and then it affects you also, because then you be like, yo, I know I could take care of this long. I know I'll do like this. I ain't this type of person. I ain't this type of man. But the situation can't define itself because of sometimes we're pushed to act. We're pushed to act. So our reaction is submissive. So we don't get to act out on our own. I know when I had my first child, I couldn't have no reaction. Soon as I was like, I ain't having no baby, my mom's was like, pow. Yo, what are you talking about? You shouldn't have did this. You shouldn't have did that. Go, boom, you gonna have this baby. Boom, boom, boom. You understand? Now I'm going
right,
to school and I'm having a child. Okay, I'm good, but I'm like, yo, what am I going to do?
right. Now but are young men facing what you face from their moms nowadays? You know, we talking about nowadays. Men not Young men are not getting that. Young men are, oh, telling their mom they ain't my baby, and the mom going with it. You know what I mean? The mom ain't saying, well, you got to get the test, whatever, this, that, and the other. They going with what he said. You know what I'm
Some
saying?
of them,
Yeah.
some of
This
them don't
right,
want, and that's another mental state of no parent want to see their child go through that, man. So some of them just block it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you lay your bed, you go ahead. I ain't got nothing to do with it. And this is what I'm saying. We have to let them know the reality about being committed, or saying you committed, just like getting married just to have sex. No love, no like, just from the desire. So we gonna have sex, but we married, so we good. So when that's done, now I want somebody else. Now what happens?
okay. Now take it from this point. The same thing is you having a baby, no love, barely like the person. Now you got a baby.
Yeah.
What happens? You know what I mean? See, at least with marriage, you can get a divorce and it's paperwork. But
But with a child,
with
right?
that baby, the baby's still there. You know what I'm saying? You
Always.
you don't have that option to say, "Oh, I'm tired. I want to walk away, or I want somebody new," and leave the baby. You know what I mean? But the way it has been that option.
Of course. I
It
mean,
hasn't been having that option.
I know for me, bro, we all have, I don't know, but me, I know I have that type of experiences. So I know how it is. And this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, if from what I know now today, and I mean, like, it took me a minute to get it. You feel me? What I know now today, bro, and what I like, what I didn't know then, and what I know now. This is why I talk to my grandkids, man. And I don't try to sugarcoat it or give them like, well, you don't. Well, I'll say the best way to do it, bro, is like, if you don't want to get fat, what you do? You fast. You stay away from certain type of food. You don't want
Right.
to have a baby, bro. Stay away from it.
Abstain. Yeah,
You know
abstain
what I'm
is best
saying?
the ability, and if you can't
Go
abstain,
fast.
protect yourself.
Go
That's
fast.
it.
If you feel that much desire, because you can at a young age fall
Oh,
in love
of course,
and be
hormones and all
committed,
that. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
because women shape men. You know what I'm saying? Because a man, once he in love, he'll do whatever he got to do for that woman.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so women shape men to
And
be men.
women
You
and
know what I'm
women need to
saying?
know that. They need to take heed to
They
that.
women shape men to be
Definitely.
men. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? You ain't a man on your own,
Right.
especially when and when okay. So I want that commitment. I want to show you that I'm gonna be there. So we gonna get married. So I'm gonna marry you. At right now, I'm gonna marry you, and I'm just gonna be there. So we're gonna deal with each other, and that has to be a reality too. So I love you, and you love me. You know what I'm saying? Let's build it. Because I don't see a one-sided building in today's society. It's gonna take two of them, bro. It's
Well,
gonna take all
absolutely.
both of them, man.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
we want to throw everything on the man and the guy and be like, well, you got to do this now. That's your wife. You got to do with what tools? And when we're like, show me, give me, pass everything to me. I'm gonna need and I'll regulate. But that ain't how it's going down. It's like, yo, you do this and look what the young go through mentally, bro. And then it affects the female mentally, bro. That we have to cut that tie and we have to educate them of the true the reality of having a child in today's society based on where you at and what you doing and where you going and what's your career. What is it? What are you going to do for the rest of your life? How are you going to take care of your family? How First of all, let's go like this. How's your credit score at 17? What you think their credit score is at 17, bro?
I mean, it depending on who's behind them, because if they got the
Behind
parents
that
that
17,
if they
now
if they got the parents that
I ain't
put
saying the
bills on
parent
them and stuff.
credit. I said their credit score,
I
bro.
mean, credit scores. I mean, they
The
wouldn't even
reality
have
is
a
that
credit
they
score.
can't
The
even get an
reality, they
apartment,
wouldn't even
right?
have a credit
They
score.
can't even get an apartment shot at
Right?
8, 17.
Right.
All
They
right.
wouldn't even have a credit score.
Okay,
I mean,
exactly.
right. So I
Exactly.
mean, and I'm hearing what you're saying, but the reality is, okay, yeah, you're 17 years old. If you and I'm all for, as you said, us giving them the information, and hopefully they can look at this, and the parents can, look at it with them, and discuss some of the issues, because at the end of the day, 17 years old, having a baby, like I say, I keep going back and forth with it, because at the end of the day, marriage is a responsibility, the baby is a responsibility, and the baby's going to suffer more than if you don't have a baby and you get divorced. It's no big deal. You know what I'm saying? But the thing for me is, as I said, I'm not so much for trying to push a young person to get married. I'm not so much for that, but I am for being held accountable after you have the information, and then want to find an easy way out. I'm for
We
that,
got to,
because
you know what? We got to do more than that, man. I mean, like, come on, bro. Like, listen, we structuring them and we telling them, okay, marriage is this and this and this, and reality is that. When we give them that type of structure, bro, we as adults, us with money and all this, we gotta establish them so they can have jobs. We gotta have more business ethics toward each other, dealing with each other in business, and establishing structure businesses for them to come to work when they're that young, and we could take in our
No,
own.
no, no.
We
I look.
we don't supply. We can't supply. Where was we supplying us with
I mean,
jobs at, bro?
we can, but we're not.
We can, but we're
Let's
not.
say we're
Exactly.
not. Yeah,
We could do a whole
we
lot. We could
yeah,
change the whole spectrum.
yeah.
It's
Now,
enough multimillionaires, right,
exactly.
to change the whole spectrum, bro.
Well, I
Period.
mean, and not just that. Let's look at it this way. We have 49.5 million people that identify as black. Now,
Identify
identify as black. Now, let's
on a
let's
grant.
let's 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 even let's cut that in half. Let's say some are children, some are retired or don't work or whatever. Let's say 25 million. We got 25 million people, 25.3 million people that and we're capable of doing this. And we got to stop telling ourselves we're not capable and we can't get together, because we can get together, because whatever we want to get together on, we get together on. So
Right.
all
So it's
that
a desire.
we're not unity, we're not unified, all that, that's garbage. That's garbage. We have to say now, based on what you're saying, if we're real serious about changing our conditions and changing our situations and making a better situation for our young people, then we would start putting $1 a day in a fund that will go in each state. Each state. Now that's 25 million in 50 states. And we continuously do that. We don't need no millionaires. We don't need no government to do that. All we need is to commit to each other for the sake of the improvement of us as a community. You know what I mean? So
And that's
a
just a
dollar,
dollar.
that's a dollar. That's a dollar. So that's 25 million, 0.3 million dollars every week, every day. That's every day. We do that per day. That's every day. Come on, people. So stop all the bull crap that we can't get ahead and we need the government to do this for us and we need this person to do that. No, all we need is those of us who spend money on a picket, those of us who buy cigarettes, those of us who get a cup of coffee, those of us who want a donut. All we need is the $1 from each of you. You know what I'm saying? To be able to change our conditions and change the trajectory of our future generations. Now, what you said, we would be able to have jobs for them, the 17-year-old
Right.
year old, because now we doing that in every state. Now, from that state, now it start funneling down to every city. Now every city got job opportunities for the young people.
Right.
So we got the answers. We just got to be willing to make the commitment so that we can change the conditions of our people along with the mindset of how we see ourselves.
Right.
That's that. So we got the solution. It's no reason why we can't do it. So what our discussion right now depends on us, because we can change it. We can do exactly what you said. Provide job opportunities for those individuals. You know what
Right.
I mean? So no city would be without job opportunities for the young people, and they don't have to go begging nobody, no banks, no nothing. Because with that being said, we get the chance to change what you were talking about with properties being managed by people outside of the community, these management companies that have the ability to, dependent on their perspective of our culture, raise the price, give us hard times, but now it'll be ran by us. So
Right.
now you know your children will have an opportunity to be able to have somewhere to live too. So, you know, this is what we have, and this is our opportunity to change our trajectory, to change our conditions, but it depends on us. And we got to stop the nonsense of talking about, oh, we can't do this, we can't unify. That's crap. You don't want to.
Well, yeah, that's basically it. It's what you don't want to do. It ain't what you can't do. Because you could do anything you want. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
And if
There
we're
you go.
gonna, if when we're gonna impose, like, because you're not gonna get away from the reality of what the children are having or what they're going through when it comes to sexuality, right? They having sex, not sexuality, but they having sex, and you get married because it teaches us in the deen, like, you got to be married, blase, blase, blase,
Right.
the whole 9 yards behind it. I have books in front of me right now, and it discusses about the commitment of marriage, the adjustments of life, man. It like, I'm gonna use this as an example. A lot of people be like, when it comes to the gospel or when it comes to the Bible, and they come out with a New Testament, and they be like, they changing it up, they changing this up, they came out with something different. Um, they takes the body of the word, the body of it, and they adjusted how it's coming in reality. So now you have this testament. It has to apply with the society it's in. So it's being adjusted to the society. It's not changing the word. It's not giving you another doctrine. You know what I'm saying? But it's adjusting to the society it's in, so it won't lose the grasp of people that it holds. You understand?
Yeah,
It's
I hear
like
what you're saying.
it's being passed down, and like, like, my grandfather, he had the Bible with the red writing in it. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bible where it says Ahmed in it. When it comes to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the comer, and they said his name is in the Bible. Like, I have that edition. You feel me? Then I got the other editions as well. You know what I'm saying? And when we see how, when we look at it, and it changes, and it changes, this is what we have to do when we have so much tradition in our culture, and society affects things. uh it affects this condition. I can't apply this the same way. I can't apply this the same way. I have to make some adjustment, but we can still get to where we going. We can still do it, but we have to adjust to it. A lot of us don't know how to adjust to it, so we run from it. We say that's not my problem. Ain't got nothing to do with that. You feel me? I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not my problem. You get ahead and you do what you got to do. Boom, boom. We don't adjust to it to make the adjustment. It's like, I remember one time while I was doing construction, I used to hire everybody from the block. You know what I'm saying? All the
Right.
young ones, even my own. You feel me? So I had everybody. I had the Bloods, the Crips. I had this ones. I had that one. I had everybody working and teaching them from nothing how to do the construction. Was it, bro? I think I used to call you. It was
Yeah, yeah,
difficult as hell.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It was a very challenging task. You feel me? But today they all can work in that field. You know
There
what I'm
you go.
saying?
There you
So
go.
even that's a solution. Even some of them right now, that's their solution that they have. Like, okay,
There's another
showed
option.
me.
They got an
He
option.
he he,
We,
he
we
showed me.
we about to come to an end. We got about 45 seconds, somewhat like that.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, but you know,
But let me sum up
yeah,
on,
go ahead.
when it comes to marriage at the age of 17 and 2024. I think we need to educate them on a whole spectrum and what surrounds that when it comes to food, clothing, shelter, and the responsibility of longevity being with this person and this child in the life for the rest of their life.
And my synopsis is, based on 2024, they have to, we have to educate them that, look, if you're not ready to get married, don't throw a baby in the mix. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, both of them are long-term commitments. And if you're not ready for one, then don't say you're ready for the other.
I agree with you 100% on that one, my brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my
So to the next day, um,
5 at live.
live at 5, no jive, you know, and to stimulate the mind, man. To the next day, you know, people tune in. Hope you enjoyed
Subscribe,
it.
follow.
Subscribe to
Oh,
what?
JY's Entertainment, baby. YouTube.
And
Find me on the
subscribe.
gram.
There you go. And subscribe to Peep Game TV on YouTube. Till next time, we
Salam
out.
alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam.